Hello everyone. Well, in last week's video, I shared with you how we installed our quartzite countertops on our own. So in this week's video, I'm going to share with you how I painted our cabinets. Welcome to Soul Station. At first, I wasn't sure if I wanted to paint these or not, and then I also kind of went back and forth on the color that I wanted to paint the cabinets. If you saw last week's video, you see that we got them at the Habitat for Humanity Restore and they were already gray. While I don't mind the color gray, I think it is nice, it just wasn't what I had in mind. Our kitchen doesn't get a whole lot of sunlight, which is one of the reasons why we have so many windows in our house. And so I really felt like white would be the brightest color to bring into the kitchen. And then from there, I can just add my accent colors. Ultimately, I decided to go with my go-to white, which is Swiss coffee. This is the same color that we painted all the trim in our home. Our walls are painted simply white. Between the two white colors, there is a slight contrast, and sometimes you can see it and sometimes you can't. It depends on the lighting. The first thing that I did was remove all of the doors and the hardware. I then applied my first coat of paint. When we got our cabinets from the Restore, they came with 3 corner cabinets, so we had to be creative. We used 2 of the corner cabinets and another cabinet in the center of them to create our island. Jess had to cut down some of the back of it to make it fit, and then we wrapped it with tongue and groove. I use a paintbrush to cut in, and I just take my time. I don't like to tape off too much, so I just take my time and use the paintbrush. I just use a rag to clean up any overpaint. I also use a mini foam roller to apply the paint. This works especially well on the sides of the cabinets. I just like to make sure that I don't have any excess paint, so you have to roll out the excess really well. I read this quote the other day and I thought it was so profound I wanted to share it with you guys. It says, "One thing you cannot find is that God ever judged you for the wisdom He gave you or for the blessing He gave you. He makes it so that when you come again, He gives again, never asking, 'What did you do with the last?'" That is how God gives. As the Bible says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, who gives to all liberally and without reproach, and it will be given to him." Roller doesn't work very well to get into the corners, and so that's why I use the paintbrush to just smooth out and get into all those corners and along the edges. One of my favorite things to do is go hiking. We have such beautiful trails and scenery around here. This is just north of Yellowstone National Park. The Yellowstone River runs just below those mountains along that rock wall there. This was a really steep climb up and down. I saw the most beautiful juniper trees up here, and next year I know where to come for some Christmas greenery. On a close-up of this door here, you can see how some of the wood grain is showing through on the gray paint, which I didn't really love. And also this one had some chip on it, so I did sand this one, but I didn't sand all of them. For the doors, the first thing that I did was spray them all with crud cutter, and then I let that sit on it for a few minutes while I removed the hardware. To get a really smooth finish on the doors, we decided to spray them. I'm creating some hangers out of wire, and what I'm doing is going to attach 2 screws into each door and then attach the wire to that, and this is going to hang from the frame of our tent outside. This extra panel cover was most likely used for a dishwasher, but because we won't be using it for that, I am going to cover up the hardware holes, and we're going to use this on our island. This tent canopy that we have, you can see here, it got some damage from the wind, but it's going to work perfect to hang our cabinet doors from so that we can spray them. This is probably not the ideal or best way to do it, but this is just how we decided to do it. Once we had all of the doors hung here, we were ready to start spraying them. I was so nervous to start spraying these cabinets. I asked Jess, is this right? And he said, you need to get a little closer. So I got closer and then I sprayed again, and we just kept going at it. I've used a sprayer for doing furniture, but this sprayer is a lot different, and doing these kitchen cabinets was different too. I felt really nervous about it just because I didn't want to mess them up. I did, of course, start on the inside of the doors, so that helped me kind of get a rhythm. Whenever I sprayed the paint onto the doors, they would dance around a little bit because of the way we had them suspended, so Jess would hold them still for me to stabilize them. Painting your kitchen cabinets is a pretty big project, but yet anyone can do it, and you don't have to have a paint sprayer. There are a lot of videos out there showing you how people have done it, and I think that's the awesome thing about YouTube, is that there's just so many different ways to do it. I hope that this inspires you to work on your kitchen if that's something you've been wanting to do. If we didn't have a sprayer, I would still just paint these cabinets the way that I painted the bases, with a paintbrush and a mini foam roller. Well, we just got everything finished, got it all in the house to dry, and it just started raining. We are going to let everything dry in the house for at least a full day, if not 2 days, and then we can put the doors back onto the bases. To me, the white feels light and bright, and I'm really happy with it. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that my kitchen brings some inspiration to you. And whatever it is that you are seeking or looking for, don't be afraid to bring it to God and to ask Him, because He is the giver of all good things. Thank you so much for joining me today in this video and for liking and subscribing to my channel. God bless.